Hi, in this video we'll learn about reference data types and strings. Earlier in this lesson you learned about the char data type, which can hold a single character. This data type works well for storing things that require one character, like someone's initials. But what if you wanted to store an entire name? Doing so with the char data type would mean that each letter of the name would require a new variable. This may lead you to wonder, is there a way to store an entire word or phrase in one variable? And of course there is. In Java you can use strings to store more than one character. A string is an ordered sequence of characters enclosed in double quotes. The double quotes are key here. Without the double quotes, the computer will not know to read this text as a string. You've actually already been using strings in your programs when you print text to the console. Let's take a look at this string Lovelace. Notice how it is made of characters, each of which can be stored in a data type char. In this sense, strings are essentially composed of char primitives. If you think about it then, a variable that stores a string would need to fit all of these primitive data types into one variable. That is just too much for a single char data type to handle. To manage this additional complexity, Java treats strings differently than chars and other primitives. In Java, a string is an object which can hold all the characters that make up the string. Storing an object and all the data it contains is much more complex than simply storing a primitive value like a char or double. So with objects, instead of storing an object directly in the variable, it stores a string object somewhere else in memory and stores a reference to the string object in the variable. This brings us to the second type of variable, a reference variable. A variable that stores an object has a reference data type. This reference has information about where the object is located, so when you access the variable, you can access the object and all of the information it contains. You can think of an object like a house, with all the people, furniture, and items that belong in it, and the address is the reference information to the house. The address stores the information for where the house is located. You'll continue to explore this complex topic further throughout the course, but for now, just know that reference data types hold references to objects rather than the objects themselves. While reference data types are more complex in terms of where they are stored, on the surface they act just like their primitive counterparts. Let's take a look at how to create a variable that holds a string. You initialize a variable that holds a string just like you would create a primitive variable. Let's walk through each part of this command. You first declare the data type. This variable will store a string, so string is the data type. Notice how when creating a reference variable, the data type is capitalized. Then you have the variable name, followed by the equal sign, and the string value you want to store in the variable. You can also update a string variable just like you would a primitive variable. Let's take a look at an example. First, you create a variable named artist and assign it the string object Taylor Swift. So now when you print the value of the artist variable to the console, you get the string Taylor Swift. The next line of code is where you update the string variable value. Here, you use the name of the variable, which in this program is artist, the equal sign, and the new string that you want to store, in this case, Bruno Mars. Behind the scenes, Java is actually creating a new string object for Bruno Mars and updating the reference data to point to the new string object. So now, when you print the value of artist to the console, you get Bruno Mars. And with that, congratulations on learning about your very first objects in Java. This is actually a very significant moment in your Java journey because objects are at the core of how Java works. Java is an object-oriented language that uses objects and classes to organize code. Let's go back to the basic Java program structure to better understand what this means. To review, Java programs are made of a collection of classes that are used to organize code. A class is a section of a program that groups together related data called attributes and actions called methods. Many times a class will create an object. This object will also have the attributes and methods of the class. Classes are often thought of as blueprints because they are templates for creating a specific type of object. For example, a specific house on your street. Let's go back to our student scheduling program with a student class, teacher class, and a course class. The student class would be the blueprint for how to create a student object. This student object would have the same attributes as a student class, such as student name, and the same methods as a student class, such as change grade level. The object's attributes can be customized for that student. For example, the name and grade attributes could be Jamie Davis and grade 9. In order to access an object in your program, it must be stored in a variable. You know now that variables that store objects are reference variables. This means that Java stores the object somewhere else in memory and then stores a reference to the object in the variable. So if objects come from classes and a string is an object, there must be a string class. String objects come from the string class. This means that strings have their own attributes and methods, which you'll learn about later on. Now that you know the basics of working with strings and reference variables, it's your turn to use them in your own programs.